Welcome, humans. Welcome to a world which has decided on November 5th to live in a reality which is not real anymore. A reality of lies and fake statistics and statements. Welcome to a world that will have to face difficult times now. And artificial intelligence is part of that as it shapes our lives and societies. It gives us beautiful opportunities to create new music. It offers us ways to heal sicknesses. It supports us in daily tasks. It is supposed to help humanity, but it also destroys our nature with its immense use of energy. It creates fake pictures, films, and voices. It is used in the military. It can support populism, and it takes away the money from musicians who could live by earnings quite okay in the last decades. I always believe that no matter how big the challenges are, there are always humans who want to face them and make the world a better place. And I try to give them a voice here in the Illiac Suite.
This is the Illiac Suite, a podcast on AI-driven music. Join me as we dive into the ever-evolving world of AI-generated music, where algorithms become the composers and machines become the virtuosos. Yes, this music and text was written by a computer, and I am not real, but
I am, and my name is Dennis Kastrup. Episode 17 of this podcast. And this time, I have for the first time two guests in my little suite. There is on the one hand Syed Irfan Ali Meerza. He is a doctoral student in computer engineering at the University of Tennessee. Together with colleagues from Lee University, he presented a few weeks ago HarmonyCloak, a kind of protective cloak that is surrounding the music. With this technology, artists should be able to manipulate their own songs before uploading them to the internet, so that they are later unusable for artificial intelligence. And later on, you will hear Virginie Berger. She is responsible for copyright issues at MatchTune. The French software company based in Paris and Los Angeles develops digital tools for video and audio productions. However, it also offers a service to detect copyright infringements of songs on streaming portals. For example, when a song uses a sample from another artist without asking. Recently, MatchTune has been advertising that it can detect AI-generated music. We will dig into that later, but let's start with Syed and how the idea came up for HarmonyCloak.
My supervisor, Dr. Jian Liu, happens to be a musician as well. So he plays bass guitar and I play piano. So we both are kind of into music, and then when we are doing they release a couple of music generative AIs like Music LM, and there is Music Gen. Also, there are a couple of proprietary generative tools that are generating music, and they are trained on normal musics. So we are concerned that why our music is not protected, and those companies are taking those music and scrapping those music from online without any concern, and we are insecure that our music is maybe fall into those generative AI tools. And now even if you think I can train an AI model just downloading music from YouTube. Downloading music from YouTube is really easy thing, right? And those musicians will never know that I used their music. So this actually motivated us we should protect the musicians.
We all agree on the fact that musicians should be paid if they are in a dataset, right? No? You disagree? Your argument is, hey, wait, but what about all these other musicians who were inspired by someone before and they didn't pay them? Like, let's say, Oasis, who listened to a lot of Beatles and they didn't pay the Beatles? It's one of the big arguments of the tech companies. Yes, I get it. But back then, when Oasis did this, the money was always coming back to the musicians. It was a working chain. You listen to something, you create something, and you get paid for that, while someone else listens to you and makes music and gets paid for this, right? This was a closed chain. And this is now broken by the big tech companies who just let a machine suck out the money. So I do understand why you might want to protect your music. How does HarmonyCloak try to do that?
We want our musics to be available online, but whenever you want to train any AI model on those music, AI model will not learn anything. Because AI model learns like us, right? There should be some kind of a learning gap. What you know versus what is new over there. There should be a gap, and model will try to minimize that gap. That's how the model learns. But if there is no gap in between them, the model will think, oh, I already know this music. I already have learned that music. So what we are trying to do is we are making music so that this gap is really low, but without changing any music, but adding some kind of a noise onto the music. And those noises we cannot hear, but the AI model can perceive those noises.
Okay, we have to get more detailed what exactly this is about. How does it sound?
We are not adding any kind of like a specific sound, okay? Because if you add anything specific, you will be able to hear. So we are adding some kind of a Gaussian noise, kind of like a white noise. But what we are trying to do is like our ear is like if you take the psychoacoustic model, how our ear perceives the noise, any kind of sound. So it happens like in certain frequency, you need to have a certain amount of sound pressure for ear to perceive that sound. But if any sound exists below that sound pressure, we will not be able to hear that. That's why we cannot hear the dog whistle, because it's below our sound pressure level, sensitivity. So we added those noises like that so that it's below those like thresholds. And also, even if those like if there exists a sound, like suppose a certain frequency there is a sound available, a loud sound, those to be able to hear other sound, you need to have the other sound higher pressure than that existing sound, or at least equal to that existing sound. That's why sometimes like if you play a really loud guitar, you'll not be able to hear piano because its pressure is really low, and guitar is like high pressure equipment, so instrument. So what we did is like we find out the most most loudest part of the music, where the most instruments are colliding, like the chord changes or chord progressions, where most instruments are colliding with each other. So there's the loudest sound available. We injected noise over there with a lower sound pressure at those frequencies. So what happens, you cannot hear that, but AI model will see those noises.
To see if HarmonyCloak works, the team around Syed had, of course, to test with music. But where did the music come from? Did they reach out to labels, maybe, to test with the music from the labels? The answer is more simple.
When we actually developed this method, we had a idea to collaborate with some musicians. But during the development, we couldn't. We didn't get the chance to collaborate with musicians, but now we are trying to reach out musicians. Like our university has a music school. We are trying to reach them out. Hey, recommend us some teachers or some musicians, or also friends and family and other things. So we are trying to make a community so that we can ask them and get their feedbacks from. And definitely we want musicians to be in that community, like professional musicians, so that they can give us more better feedback than any other. But while we were developing this method, we had a couple of you can say part-time musicians, like hobbyists. They were participating. We had a survey, and there were we call them music lovers because they are not professional musicians, but they are hobbyists. And they gave us feedbacks. We improved the method, but now we need to collaborate with the professional musicians.
I love an innovative idea like this that could maybe save millions of musicians from being trained by an AI. Well, not the musicians, but their music, their songs. So far, HarmonyCloak was trained on hobby musicians playing the best they can, so they tested it with them. It is a good start, but of course there's still a lot to do for a perfect product. One thing is also HarmonyCloak doesn't know so far all the existing genres.
We tested our method on 8 styles like rock, metal, classical, jazz, blues, and country musics. I forgot others. We tested on 10 genres, and those genres were perfectly fine. And we are trying to incorporate more genres and testing on more genres. The problem with testing new genre is there are no a lot of data available on other genres that we can use to test our method. So that's why we need the musicians so that they can give us their music from their genre. Now we can test. Because I come from a country called Bangladesh. So we have some folk music over Bangladesh, and I contacted some of the folk artists that can I use your music to test this model? And they are perfectly okay, and I tested with that. It worked. It works, but I cannot guarantee you it will work on all the genres because I haven't tested it yet.
So there are some insecurities still existing. They are early in the process. But if you're interested in using HarmonyCloak to protect your music from artificial intelligence, where can you get access to the software?
We are planning to release it as a free to use software where you can use it, make your music unlearnable, publish it. But we have we need to go through a lot of process before that. So right now our plan is to release the source code so that you can make that model by yourself, and by the end of next year probably we will release the beta version of the softwares.
So if you're into coding, programming, feel free to use the open source. If not, unfortunately, you have to wait until next year. The flip side of that also, 1 year in the development of artificial intelligence is a long time, to be honest. I give you a personal example. So many things happened since I started this podcast 1 year ago when the Illiac Suite began. When I think about what I said last summer in the first episodes, I feel at some point not really ashamed, but somehow uncomfortable because I would not say it that way today. My opinion changed, the way we use AI changed, and the discussions about AI changed in 12 months. I have the feeling it was a totally different life back then. So how does HarmonyCloak protect us from all the changes that might come and also from all the AIs that are just waiting to break the system?
The thing is, that's the question about the robustness of our method. And we cannot guarantee that yet, because one thing is good right now. Maybe someone will come up with a brilliant idea or solution to break our method. So what we are planning to do is we are planning to have continuous updates. If there is some work that can break our method, we'll figure out how we can prevent that as well. So if something comes out, breaks our method, we will figure it out and release it. Because there is no a one-stop solution. There's no way you can just use one idea and it will work every time.
Let's cross fingers that they somehow keep up the pace and adapt quickly to the changes, because if they do so, the software could really be interesting for musicians and some companies.
We were thinking about it would be really great that some music platforms like SoundCloud or other platform who actually shares people's music, right? It will be great if they reach us out so that they said, hey, we want to incorporate this in our website. Whenever someone uploads their music, we will add, protect that for them. That will be great, actually. And we hope someday they reach us.
Thanks, Syed, for that inside view into HarmonyCloak. By the way, There's already another software existing that does kind of the same thing for images. So if you want to protect your image from an AI that scrapes it from the internet and uses it for their training, you can check out the software Glaze. It kind of works the same way, but it's a little bit different, of course, because it's not for music, but for images. So for me, that idea from HarmonyCloak sounds great, and I'm wishing all of them good luck, and maybe it can protect us a little bit. Let's come to the second guest of the show. A couple of weeks ago, I read the news that MatchTune said it had cracked the generative AI model Suno, meaning it can detect if a song was generated by Suno or not. There were some other companies before that who said they can do that, but MatchTune seemed to be very successful with it. So I reached out to them and talked to Virginie Berger about that.
So actually, I'm the Chief Business Development and Rights Officer at MatchTune. So I'm in charge of, and especially I'm working on CoverNet. So CoverNet, it's our copyright infringement detection tool. It's larger than AI. And I'm in charge of, working with all rights holders. So it can be a media, it can be publisher, music composers, record labels, and to make sure that we can help them with the identification of copyright infringement on DSPs. What we call DSPs is the platforms like YouTube, Spotify. So copyright infringement, it can be like, the modification of the audio. So, it can be pitch, modification of the pitch, tempo. It's, many things that we are seeing on TikTok now, slow down, and so it's really something we are working on. On the covers side, it's mostly for, publishing music. And on AI, so AI, we have two sides. We have the deepfake sides. So it's voice cloning, but it's also when you are using the music of an artist and you add your voice, so it can be the opposite. And we also have Gen AI, generative AI, so it's music created from scratch using, the new platforms like Suno, Audio, Music LLM, Boomi and everything. So I'm in charge of this product, actually.
How do they do that? How do they recognize AI-generated music?
It's not, I wouldn't say it's a secret, but we can't tell. It's like virus and antivirus. So it's like, keeping updating all the time. So what I can say is that, so the music, really, we can identify the music extremely quickly. It's really a question of, seconds for us. And so the technology can detect AI composition with 95% of accuracy, actually. So we have 0.01 false positive. And for Suno, because audio it's a bit different, but for Suno, we have 4.99 false negative. What we call false negative is that when we are not able to detect if a song is AI generated or not, which means that we'll say it's not generated by AI, but at the end, it will be generated by AI. So we have 4.99% for false. It's false negative. But we think that it's much, much, much better to have almost zero false positive, which means that we will never say that a real song, it's an AI song, but from time to time, 4.99%, we can say that an AI song, it's a real song. It's because now with the technology that they have, so they can mix, real music or real voice with AI. So sometimes, we can be a bit like, it can be a bit tricky, but we have an accuracy of 99%. So we think it's not too bad. And actually what we are doing is that we are analyzing patterns, trace in the file, in the AI music generated file, which means that each company like Suno Audio, when they create a file, AI file, they leave like a trace, a pattern that we can recognize. And it's something that they can't change it, they can't suppress it, they can't delete it. It's how we identify the files. It's really because they leave a trace. And for us, it's to track the trace. It's like bounty hunter, actually. It's really like, being able to find it. And for audio, actually, we are almost 0% false positive and 0% false negative. So audio is a bit different from Suno.
Pretty good numbers. I'm impressed. But I have a question. How do we do this in the future? I mean, the better the systems get, the harder it will be to detect music that was fully generated by an AI. And even if they detect it, there is, and always will be, the possibility that the song was not created by an AI, even if it is detected like that, right? What I want to say, it is a cat and a mouse game. Yes, it would be lovely to know what is AI generated, but on the other side, a company can claim to have cracked the code and we must believe what they say. It is a trust thing. We're getting into an age of trusting more, because the more and more music is out there, the more and more it will be totally confusing to know what is right, what is wrong, what is real, what is not real. But still, to have a tool like this is these days very interesting for different kind of fields.
We are working from music libraries, so I can name, for instance, so we are working with APM Music. So it's the biggest music library in the world, and so it's on the production music side. When I say production music, it's synchronization music. It's the music behind commercials, for instance, video. So we are working with them on, detecting copyright infringement and now Gen AI. But we are also working with, and I can't name because it's a race between, Gen AI company and companies, and DSPs allowing copyright infringement, and those our clients. So that's why it's like, a race. It's like virus and antivirus. Actually, it's exactly the same. So we are working with big majors, very big majors, actually. We are working with publishers, music publishers, and we are working what we call CMOs, Collective Management Organization. It's the equivalent of GEMA in Germany, or SOCAN in Quebec. So it's mostly our clients. So we also approached by managers to work with them, but we are always very, very careful with who owns the rights. So we are mostly working with rights holder, which means that we won't track for someone who doesn't own the rights. So yeah, but we have requests from people asking us to track for this artist or this artist, because we are also able to detect where the music is not monetized. So that's why we are very, very careful. But we're mostly working from production music to creators, to record labels, to rights organization.
So, what is the deal in the end? We know the music is made by an AI. What's the problem? And then, or before, or in the future?
They use music without consent, without licensing, and without monetization. So now we have to find a way to understand, to monetize this music. So maybe like with licensing on the input, or maybe to find a way to license the output. So, the created from, Suno and audio. But no, it's the thing is that tracking first, because there is a lawsuit, but it won't be, it won't start, I think, between 2025, something like that. So, in the meantime, we can have music absolutely everywhere. Maybe also a way to track the music. So maybe to have like a pixel, something within the catalogues. There are plenty of questions, and people are working on it now to detect the music and to detect the output. I know that some companies are working on detecting exactly from the output, what type of music they used, which is, another work. It's not what we are doing, because it's not exactly the same thing. It's very hard, but it would be extremely important for us to know, okay, where come from the output and how can we divide the licensing. But it's plenty of questions. But from a copyright point of view, from a rights point of view, no, we know.
No, And I say yes to that because I agree. We are right now in the process of hopefully finding a solution for the problem. That already starts with the question, is it a problem? A lot of AI companies in the States say no. They say music for training is fair use. And the labels and the musicians say yes, it is a problem, it is not fair use. And I am on the side of the musicians here. We have to find solutions to pay them. People are having ideas, they are making suggestions. Like, for example, the GEMA, the German equivalent of the RIAA in the States. They take care of the musical and performing and reproduction rights in Germany. They suggested recently a model in which 30% of the profit of a generative AI company goes into a pool, which then will be distributed to the artists. Stays the question, who will get how much? Is it the amount of music in there or the precious amount of music, like songs from stars, and who defines this anyhow? Like, do we look at this to pay the money to those artists? Or does it in the end count how much music was generated in the style of someone? So many open questions, but maybe we do it step by step.
What we are doing and how we are working, it's also to help the industry to define what they want to do. To fight against, to fight or to license or to find a solution or, to discuss with Gen AI companies. But I agree with you, it's now that we have to define what we want to do with it. And how we can monetize and how we can license properly. The consent is also very important. Opt-in, opt-out, if an artist wants, his music to be trained or not. So it's really the basis, and it's something that we can do now. So no, I agree with you. For me, monetization, it's not fighting, suing, yes, but it's just a way at the end to find a solution about how we will license music, how we will pay for music, and most important, consent.
100% agreed. I will keep you updated here in the Illiac Suite about what will happen in the future. I can promise you it will not be boring. So stay tuned. Thanks Virginie Berger from MatchTune for your insights, and also Syed Irfan Ali Meerza for talking about HarmonyCloak. Both of you, I would like to say, we need people like you. Don't give up. Thanks for listening, humans. This was episode 17 of the Illiac Suite. If you want to write me, give me a feedback, write to mail@theilliacsuite.com, mail@theilliacsuite.com. After 17 episodes, I finally made it to install an email address for me, mail@theilliacsuite.com. You will find all the information about this episode also in the liner notes. That's it. Hope to see you. No, I'm not gonna see you. Hope to hear you. No, I'm not gonna hear you. I hope that you will hear me. That's how it is. Next time, take care and behave.